Chase Resource Management Private Limited, founded in 2006, is a supply chain and fulfillment company for the offshore and marine businesses. It has offices in key strategic markets, including Singapore, Houston, Mumbai and Dubai. The company's key clients in the past have been ST Marine in Singapore, Shell in Brunei, Petronas in Malaysia, and ONGC and Oil India in India.
I'm Jayanti Manian, the Director of Chase Resource Management Private Limited. I'm the fifth girl in a family of 5 siblings, and my father was from the Port of Singapore Authority. He was more of an office person, and mom, she started a small motel business in the 80s, yeah. And she had a small motel with 18 rooms, and for 30 years she was running her motel business. But she was always a person into business, and I think most of us have got that part of the business culture from her. I think from young I was a people's person, and I could do very good PR with people, and I thought business was always my kind of a job, meeting people, and that was my strength. So since young, I always wanted to go into the hotel line. I always wanted to do a degree in hotel management, because that's like meeting people, talking to people, I knew that I was never going to be an office-bound person at all. So after my O-levels, when I got into the college, I always wanted to go away to Switzerland to do my hotel management degree in Switzerland. But unfortunately, after my A-levels, just before I got my results, my dad passed away. I had no financial support. Though I had 4 sisters who were all married, I knew that they were starting their own families and it would not be fair to give them that pressure. So I decided to go a different way. That's where I started my career as a Singapore girl in Singapore Airlines. Yeah, it was just a sudden decision that was taken in my life that I couldn't afford a degree in Switzerland. So I said, okay, I'm going to take another career path, and I started my career as a Singapore girl at the age of 20. I was flying in Singapore Airlines for about 5 to 6 years, and again I had to do a sudden stop there because I conceived my daughter. And at that time, in the early 90s, there was no flying mother scheme. That means the day you get pregnant, you resign from the job. So it was like a loss of income overnight. So, that was another big change in my life. I had to just resign when I knew that I was pregnant. And then once I left the airline, I was kind of lost, because it was like, where do I go next? It was a very, very crucial decision to make. And just over a dinner, we met a friend of ours, and he was another entrepreneur. And he asked me, what are you doing? I said, I just left the airline and I'm actually jobless. And he said, I've got a number of properties. Why don't you look after my properties? Why don't you rent them or sell them for me and, do all the management of my properties? So he gave me his first property, which was like a 6-story building or 8-story building. And he said, could you rent this out for me? And to my luck, to my surprise, I did a newspaper advertisement. And like 11 in the morning, somebody came to view the property, and 12, the guy gives me a check for $30,000 that he wants to rent that whole building. I was like, wow, not bad, because in the property business, when you rent a property for 2 years, you get a 1-month commission. And I was like, oh, okay, I've got 30,000 just overnight. So I thought, not a bad career to consider. And then I pursued the property career. In the property business, again, I used my strength there, which was PR. And people. Again, it was, people relationship. So I could communicate very well with people. And one thing about me, when I do a job, I always take it like I'm doing it something for myself. That took me to the next level of my life, where, life totally changed. And around 2006, I had an old tenant of mine who actually asked me that whether I would want to go with a partnership on an oil and gas supply chain company. And he needed a local partner. So I think this person, he has seen the entrepreneur qualities in me, and he knew that I was very aggressive in business. So that's why he came up to me. I was initially a bit reluctant because I was doing extremely well in the property business. Everything was doing very well. But I thought, why not? How long am I going to run around with my car, bringing people, showing houses? There will be a point of time when you'll get tired. So I said, okay, we'll start that business. And we started Chase Resource Management in 2006. In March, we incorporated the company. And then it was a very good start because though I thought I'm going to be just a signatory, my partner pushed me into selling the products. And that was like, initially when we started the business, we were selling plugs, marine plugs, explosive proof plugs for $50. And our profits was like $10. I said, I'm not going to go to the shipyard in Jurong with my car and petrol to deliver a $10 plug. I said, I'm very sorry, I'm not going to do this. He said, no, this is how we are going to grow. It's very slow. And then after that, he made me do presentations in shipyards, in refineries like Shell, Exxon. And I had to do presentations about pipe fittings, welding. And I didn't even know how a pipe looked like in a refinery. When the technical guys used to throw in questions to me like, what's the specification of the pipe? What is the ASME code for the pipe? Or what is the fire testing for the pipe? I used to be extremely embarrassed. I used to come back to my office and just throw the files and say, I am not doing this job. But again, what I used to do is, I used to do this. I used to give the Singapore Airlines smile and said, I will email you the answers. So that smile went a long way because every question they asked, I had to reply it at any point of time via email or anything, and I learned every answer. Today, I can fit a pipe in Shell. That's what I have become. We had a lot of challenges when we started this business. Like when we started in 2006 in Singapore, being a supply chain management company, we were actually selling products which were already in the market. And we were very new to the market. And the worst case was, I don't even know about the product. I was technically very weak. So it was very difficult for us to push shipyards, push refineries, or even push our drilling companies to buy from us. We thought the best way to do is to open an office in Houston, which was the hub for oil and gas. In the beginning of 2006, Singapore office was opened. And 2006, we actually opened a Houston office. And then we started going to original equipment manufacturers to ask them for distributorship to represent them in Singapore. So that's what we did when we nearly failed selling equipments in Singapore. When we started selling equipments as a dealer or a distributor, it was much easier because not only we had to knock their doors, they would knock our doors because, they have to come to us to buy. So that's how we started. And then that was a little successful. And then after that, we started selling to Shell in Brunei, Exxon in Malaysia, Pertamina in Indonesia. And then eventually we felt that it's not going to work when you're going to sit here and sell something there. And so we wanted to have rep offices in these countries. These three particular countries had to have Bhumiputras. And then we started getting business from India. So we opened our own office. I think my company has been pretty successful. We have achieved all our targets. We always set a target every year. And with God's grace, we have been achieving the target so far. Going forward 2020, we just don't want to be a supply chain management company. We want to start owning assets, and we want to become an asset management company. Everyone has got lots of ideas, but they don't know how to carry it out. One of the things you have to do is you have to take calculated risk. Don't just put your feet into anything and everything that you don't know. Always know what you are going to do. You must be a master of it before you get into anything. That I think is a very important lesson that I have learned at least. There's nothing that anyone can't do. I mean, I'm in oil and gas world. It's a man's world. And I have achieved very well, and I think I've gone to a level where, I have proved myself that I can do it. Putting our mind and focus into what we do and do it extremely sincerely and complete whatever you want to do. And I think fruits will definitely be paid. nothing is impossible in life. If you put your mind sincerely, with all your heart, into something, you will definitely get it.